Hey guys, I am the Comics Kid 2099 and I am going to talk to you a little bit about a graphic novel from Boom Studios called The Savage Brothers. This story is written by Andrew Cosby and Joanna Stokes and is illustrated by Rafael Albuquerque. This was a 3-issue miniseries from 2006 and was collected into the trade paperback edition that you see in my hands in 2007. The plot here is pretty simple. An apocalypse of some kind has happened, but instead of all of society the world over completely crumbling, we see that people more or less have continued their lives and are going about their normal business. There is no panic or anything you might see in Night of the Living Dead or anything derivative of that formula. Segue into the Savage Brothers, two rednecks who do jobs for the right price. Mostly we see them very probably hustling an old lady whose husband became a zombie. She wanted them to kill her husband so that when she dies she will be reunited with him in the afterlife. This is a typical job for the Savages. The story begins when they are hired to find a specific zombie, and hilarity ensues as various things go wrong and they try to get out of these various situations alive. So where do I fall on this book? It's very enjoyable. If you need to kill an hour of your day, this book will fill that time perfectly. It's not very dense or time-consuming in the least. The problem with this book is that it is only 3 issues long, and I feel like there's just enough stuff here that we could easily have another 2 issues to explore some of the concepts that don't get explored enough here. It'd be one thing if there was a sequel, but I've done some Googling and I do not see any other story set in this world. And yeah, I know, usually my complaint is that a story is too stretched out and could have been compressed a little, but here the exact opposite is true. So what could be explored more heavily, you may ask? We see a zombie head in a jar that can speak and seems to have the power to control other zombies. What makes this head so special that it has the power to control other zombies? I know this is an apocalypse where very little actually makes sense. We know that the CEO of a grocery chain caused the apocalypse, but we don't know how. We know that this is not your garden variety apocalypse. While we as a society are conditioned to believe that an apocalypse basically just means zombies, there is more to it here. For instance, we see lakes and rivers of fire, and at one point it randomly starts raining frogs. I don't mind not knowing why it rains frogs or where the lakes of fire came from, but I would like to know specifically how the CEO of this grocery chain caused the apocalypse. Where did he get this information that told him how to do it? How did this information get into the hands of the human who eventually became the zombie that the Savage Brothers rescue? This story is not a bad story, but I almost feel like saying it's not a complete story at all without some of these questions. I don't feel like I'm nitpicking here either. I really did enjoy this story, but it's almost like 20% of the meat of this book has been cut away or is missing in some way. We also get a love story which I feel is really forced. The two brothers rescue a stripper who is about to be sacrificed by the head to a bunch of zombies. This girl adds a level head to the group, which is sorely missing when the two brothers are doing their thing without her. But her romantic relationship that builds with one of the brothers happens way too fast. This is actually something that I feel like would work better if this was an ongoing series, and these two fell in love over the course of the entire series, or a season if this was a television show. As is, for the first 2 issues, this girl is disgusted by the guy who is constantly making lewd marks about her, and then when he has no interest in saving the world, she out of nowhere says that she was starting to develop feelings for him. When did this happen? Did I miss 2 months where these two slowly got to know one another? No? Oh, okay, she fell in love with him over the course of a day, because romantic relationships have to be forced and cliched, right? Also, if you see this in trade paperback form, be careful. It might look long enough to be 4 or 5 issues long, but it's only 3 issues. I would say 1/3 of this book is various pin-up pictures of an unrelated zombie video game. The pictures look nice, I guess, but they have absolutely nothing to do with this story. The text captions at the bottom of the pictures mention characters who have nothing to do with this story, and it literally comes across like Boom Studios had a stake in that video game doing very well, so they used this book with a slightly similar subject matter to advertise this video game. I know it sounds like I've got a lot to complain about here, but I really did enjoy this book as the opening act of a much larger world, but as its own thing, it falls short. So if you see this book in the bargain bin and you don't mind throwing a couple bucks at a fun little time killer, then you've come to the right redneck apocalypse story. But if you want something with fewer problems all around, you might want to keep searching. And it truly pains me to say that, because I find myself complaining about the antics of DC Comics and, to a lesser degree, Marvel Comics almost every hour. So naturally, I do try to find interesting and enjoyable books from some of the not-so-gigantic comic book companies. So I really did want to love this, but at best I can say that I like it as a friend. So that's all I have to say. I hope you guys found this review helpful, and if you did, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I will be back tomorrow with another review of something. You will just have to tune in to see what it is. Until then, I hope you guys have an amazing day. Catch you later.